Hi everyone, I've been doing some travelling this summer of 2021 and going to a few various megalithic sites. Everybody loves their megalithic sites, I hope. And one of my favourites, and which is close to me, is Coldrum Long Barrow, which is here looking over the fields of the farm, obviously. Many people keep saying it's a stone circle. It's not. Well, from what I can gather, it's a long barrow, and what we're seeing here is what would be one end of it. So this is along the Medway. As you can see, it's pretty mahusive. It's also known as Coldrum stones, which is maybe why many people mistake it for being a stone circle. There are stones around the back of it, set out in a circle, but I don't know if they were put there later or if they were part of what would have been the long barrow. Now, I took my dowsing sticks along, because I just wanted to do a bit of my own investigation. And my dowsing sticks were telling me, I have copper dowsing sticks, by the way, dowsing rods, as some people say, were saying that it was an initiation centre. I was asking if anyone was buried there, and it said no. And what I should have asked was had anybody ever been buried there? Because I believe that when the archaeologists dug it up many years ago, they did actually find a burial in there. I think that's why they kept saying it was a tomb, a house for the remains of the dead, but I'm not so sure about that. And my dowsing sticks were telling me that it's actually an initiation centre. Was it for the Druids? I don't know. Whether it was for more ancient people, I don't know. I find it quite interesting that Rudolf Steiner talks a lot about the Druids and relates them a lot to stone circles and standing stones.
Look out for snakes.
And, I'd like to go to Pen Men Moi, which he talks about when he went to Wales, Steiner, in his lecture that he gave on standing stones. I'm just going to do a little bit of a reading from what he was saying. So Steiner believes these were all done by Druid priests. And Steiner says, I was then able to visit another kind of place of worship together with Dr. Wuxmuth from Pen Men Moor. You climb a hill for about an hour and a half. At the top there is something like a hollow. From this hollow you have a wonderful view of the entire surrounding hills and also of the boundary of this mountain hollow. Up there in this hollow you find what can be described as an old Druid sun cult site, which I find quite interesting. Sorry, I'd finished the quotes there. Because most stone circles are set out on something like this. They're never really quite at the top of a hill. They're more in the hollow, looking out over the hills and the countryside. And Stein goes on to write to say, it is said that the corresponding stones are arranged along with their cover stones. There are traces everywhere. In this case, these places of worship have no enclosed inner space. Up here, in close proximity to each other, you have two Druid circles. This is him talking about the one in Wales. As the sun takes its course through the day, the shadows of these stones fall, of course, in all sorts of ways, and one can at one time distinguish the shadow of the ram, say when the sun passes through the constellation of Aries. Right, this little video I'm making now, actually, I'm just going to quickly interrupt, is the little path to Kit's Coty house. Now, I used to think this was part of a long barrow, but I've changed my mind on this as well now. I just see it was a standalone dolmen. And it was raining the day we went and visited it, and it was really strange. When I got to here, so we've been at Coldrum, no rain, my dowsing sticks worked fine. At Kit's Coty, with the rain, my dowsing sticks refused to work. So I have copper dowsing sticks. I don't know if it's because they don't like the rain, or whether they just don't want to work in the rain, or whether they were tired. But Kit's Coty again looks out over the views, and as you can see, Samuel Pepys was here on March 24th, 1668. And as many dolmens are, they're caged up. to stop them running around. Otherwise they would be galloping everywhere, wouldn't they? But back to Steiner. So Steiner thinks a lot of these stone circles are to do with constellations and the astrology. I'm just going to go back to quoting him. As the sun takes its course through the day, the shadows of these stones fall, of course, in all sorts of way. And one can at one time distinguish the shadow of the ram, say, when the sun passes through the constellation of Aries, then the bull shadow, then the twin shadow, and so on. One still gets a good impression today, if one deciphers these things from the various, qualitatively different sun shadows that this Druid circle gave. That the Druid priest could read the secrets of the universe from what continues to live on in the sun's shadow, when the physical sunlight is held back, so that in fact it is like a cosmic clock, speaking of the mysteries of the cosmic world. But it was the signs that appeared in the shadows that indeed spoke of the cosmic worlds, of the cosmic mysteries. Then the second circle was there as a kind of control, to check what the first circle yielded. So this was part of Steiner's lecture about the Druid circle at Pen Men Moi, which one day I hope to go to. I find these stones are very interesting at Coty, the way that they have all these different holes in them. No one obviously knows what they're for. Some people say it's erosion. I don't think so. I think they were there for some particular reason or point to whoever erected it. And I still, I'm a big firm believer of the giants, and the giants erected all these. And, they said that in the past when they were emptied out, they found giant skeletons in them, but everyone's hush-hush about that now. And then, of course, I'm sure many of you know this place. The magic of Stonehenge. The clouds were phenomenal there that day. It was a very warm day when I went, and obviously it was one of the days when you had to pay, so I couldn't go up like I usually do when I go to solstices. Got to walk all around, went to the round, well, what are they? No one knows. They've not been excavated, though apparently they're supposed to have been seen as burial sites of kings of the ancient past. I'm not sure what they were for, these humps, but obviously they're in the same area as Stonehenge. Stonehenge is just, 5-10 minute walk behind me. Just a fascinating landscape, Salisbury.